Hello, my friends. Today we are witnessing a new Russian offensive, which has been a topic of discussions for the past few months. They have amassed a significant amount of equipment and manpower and have begun assaulting Ukrainian positions in the direction of Kupiansk. The situation is complex, and according to Russian statements, they have managed to break through to the Senkivka railway station, located approximately 1,300 meters from the front line. It's possible that the gray area will expand in this direction. We are waiting confirmation and map updates. It's evident that the occupiers are attempting to move through the forested terrain, as experts and analysts have predicted. They had no other option but to advance through the woods and attempt to partially encircle Senkivka. Otherwise, capturing this village would be nearly impossible. Today, battles are raging in the forested area. Based on the statements from the general staff, the occupiers are advancing from another side of the village, trying to reach its outskirts. It appears that they are encircling the village from two sides and conducting offensive operations. Meanwhile, in the Avdiivka area, battles are also underway. It seems they have decided to launch an offensive in multiple directions and have dispersed their forces along the entire front line. The general staff has reported successfully repelling attacks near Avdiivka. However, the Russians claim they have breached their defense and advanced toward the village. According to their reports, they have penetrated 3 kilometers. We must await confirmation or refutation of this information from the Ukrainian side. Perhaps the Ukrainian armed forces will manage to eliminate their units and the front line will remain unchanged. However, the quantity of equipment and manpower deployed in today's offensive is substantial, much more than the Ukrainian armed forces allocated for the offensive in the Zaporizhzhia direction. Therefore, the situation is quite complex and the battles continue. The Ukrainian armed forces are doing their best. At the same time, it's immediately apparent why there was a lull in shelling earlier. Now, the occupiers have stockpiled ammunition and are making maximum efforts to strike Ukrainian positions. Before we continue, please share this video on social media and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. In the Vuhledar area, the situation remains unchanged. The occupiers are not attempting an advance here. For them, Kupiansk is more important. In the Kremenna direction, the occupiers continue their offensive towards Senkivka. Unfortunately, they have made some progress, advancing about 1,600 meters closer to the village. However, there is still approximately 1.5 kilometers to the populated area. Ukrainian forces are doing everything to maintain their defense. The occupiers are suffering significant losses both in equipment and personnel. Despite their large reserve, they have been carrying out offensive operations for almost a week now. They hope to exhaust our forces in this direction and break through the defense as far as possible. However, this hasn't yet happened and the fighting continues. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation remains challenging. The occupiers continue their daily offensive actions. Understanding that they are suffering significant casualties, they continuously deploy new reserves in this direction. Even when facing a shortage of manpower, the active units don't withdraw from their positions as orders must be carried out. As a result, the Russian forces continue to suffer losses in this area without achieving any significant success. The Ukrainian forces, on the other hand, are successfully advancing along the rail. While they may not be significant global changes, tactically, the Ukrainian forces maintain an advantage. In the Avdiivka direction, offensive actions continue toward Avdiivka and Pervomaisk. The occupiers still aim to advance and get closer to the city. Avdiivka is a critical point holding this section of the front line, and the Russians understand that any offensive towards Donetsk might start from here. Therefore, they want to push the front line several kilometers further to make it more challenging to shell Donetsk in case of a counteroffensive by the Ukrainian armed forces in this direction. Currently, the distance from the front line to Donetsk is only 2 kilometers. Despite constant attacks, the Russian forces haven't achieved success. Ukrainian forces are holding their defense. In Marinka, Krasnohorivka and Novomykhailivka, battles also continue. Ukrainian forces are doing everything to maintain their defense because a breach by the occupiers in this part of the front would create more favorable conditions for the Russians, both in capturing Avdiivka and advancing towards Vuhledar. Every section of the front line is important and the battles are fought for every meter. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers also continue their attacks. They are breaking through the fields in the direction of Vodiane, but they haven't been able to consolidate their positions, and the Ukrainian forces are defeating all their groupings. In the area of Velika Novosilka, attacks are also underway towards Zolota Niva. If we observed attacks from Novodonetsk in recent days, today they managed to get closer to Zolota Niva, which is a concerning development. We are waiting to see how these battles will unfold. So, when looking at all these directions, it's challenging to imagine the daily scale of Russian offensives and the significant number of units and tanks deployed into battle. While the Ukrainian forces are conducting offensives primarily in the Bakhmut direction and periodically in the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers have been advancing along almost the entire front line for nearly a week. Despite all the problems within the Russian army, it must be acknowledged that they possess a substantial potential in terms of manpower and equipment, and there is no significant sign of exhaustion at this time. As of today, only the Zaporizhzhia direction is on pause. It appears that both sides are regrouping and fortifying their positions here. Due to rainy weather, even the number of shelling incidents has decreased. Therefore, we are waiting to see how events will unfold in this area. In the Kherson direction, the occupiers seem determined to level Kherson to the ground as continuous shelling continues without respite. In the village of Avdiivka in the Kherson region, a child was wounded as a result of the shelling. Okay, now let's turn to the situation in Israel. In this context, the United States is deploying the aircraft carrier Gerald Ford and several squadrons of fighter jets to support Israel at its borders. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces have attacked more than 653 Hamas and Islamic Jihad targets. It's expected that a ground operation by Israel in Gaza could commence in the coming days. Footage from Gaza emerging on social media captures powerful explosions and thick columns of smoke. Some buildings have been destroyed. According to the IDF, over the past 2 days, more than 700 Israelis have died and 2,150 have been wounded. In the Gaza Strip, according to Palestinian authorities, 413 people have died and 2,300 have been injured in retaliatory strikes. The IDF has also regained control of all towns on the border with the Gaza Strip. However, small groups of militants may still remain on Israeli territory. It's worth noting that Israel has mobilized 300,000 reservists in the past 48 hours. Israel's Air Force is actively targeting the Gaza Strip, including Hamas command centers and the homes of fighters. Palestinian militants have taken over 130 Israelis hostage, including top officials and possibly citizens of other countries. Israel has requested permission bombs and missiles for the Iron Dome system from the United States. And the United Arab Emirates has become the only Arab country to condemn Hamas operation at the United Nations. That's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.